Welcome to another episode of Debt Review with Dummies. And by dummies, we refer to your hosts. I am Corey, the dummiest dummy.
And I'm Zach. I'm so dumb, I once returned a puzzle because when I opened the box, it was in pieces.
Zach, what is Debt Review with Dummies?
Well, Corey, our podcast is all about debt review, the wonderful effect it can have on people's lives. And we often talk to people who've been in the process, or maybe people who help with the process in one side of that industry or another. And we like to give people a holistic view of debt review, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the tricky stuff, but just to help give the information that you need to decide whether you think this is maybe a process for you or not. And maybe you'd just like to learn a little bit about what it's like to be under debt review.
And Zach, who are we speaking to today?
Well, today we're talking to Christopher. Just to preview his story a little bit, it's quite an interesting one. Christopher was going through some financial difficulty and began the debt review process. He didn't have an easy time of it. We'll get into that in a moment or two. But it's interesting to see where Christopher is today and what he's doing right now. So make sure you stay to the end to hear what he's up to right now, because I think it'll blow your mind. Well, Christopher, it is so nice to have you with us on the podcast today. And I think our listeners are going to be very interested in your experience, because in many ways you're seeing things from both sides of the fence. So maybe we can start off a little bit by saying, who are you?
So my name is Christopher Samuel. I was born and brought up in a very small town at that time in the year 1989, in a town called Newcastle in KwaZulu-Natal. We are well known for being in the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal. I grew up, I matriculated in Newcastle. I went to study to become a chartered accountant. Unfortunately, moving from Newcastle to Durban, I found myself from a very small town into a large city. And with the pleasures of life that comes in Durban, I found myself spending more time in the pleasure things rather than focusing on my studies. And I failed my first year in university, and my dad gave me an option if I want to continue. And I said, Dad, I do not think it is the right decision that I've taken to go and study. I want to come back home. I came back home and I spent 2 months with my mom because I come from a broken home. My parents have been separated for 25 plus years now, and I stayed with my mom. And I then went and I worked in Johannesburg in the call center space in 2000, the late 2007. And I today have my own call center where I outsource an amazing product for the last 10 years called Accident Angels. And I find myself in the call center space, happily married with the love of my life for 16 years this year. Two beautiful children, one the age 15 and one 15 months, a daughter and a son, and they are my pride and joy. If there's anyone that I want to make happy, if there's anyone I want to make the most proudest, if there's anyone's life that I want to change, it will be my wife that stood with me through thick and thin, and my two children. And that's Christopher.
So you've had a bit of a journey in the debt review space. Tell us, before you actually even considered debt review, what was your debt review knowledge? Did you know about it? Did you hear about it? What was that kind of situation?
In 2016, I think it was the latter part of the year, or somewhere around 2017, my wife saw an advert on TV regarding debt review. We, as a family, did not have any past experience regarding what is debt review. I think it was the first time we even heard of something called debt review. And myself landing myself into hundreds of thousands of rand debt at that point in time, I believe in God's divine intervention. I think it was actually appointed that my wife watches that sort of advert. But just to talk a little bit as to what landed me in this problem, in the year 2007, I was introduced to a drug, and I battled drug addiction for 14 years of my life. For 14 years of my life, I was really, really troubled in the space of drug addiction. Absolutely an abusive young adult male. And coming with the drug situation, other root problems started to filter out. And I started gambling a lot. Every opportunity that I had to gamble, I would take whatever last bit of funds I have and squander it in gambling. And from the gambling, it landed me into a more severe problem, and that was borrowing money on interest from loan sharks. So one problem led to another and another and another. And the fact of the matter is, Corey and Zach, I found myself in a place of wanting to commit suicide because I was really troubled. I looked at the state of my wife and my daughter at that point in time. I felt very, very worthless. I felt hopeless. I felt broken. It drew away every sort of quality that I had growing up as a young man. And yeah, that's a little bit of my background prior to me joining the debt review program.
Okay. So you were in a very dark place. You were in a very financially difficult place. Now you see an advert for debt review. What was it like to kind of learn about debt review from the company? You can tell us who it was if you want, that you spoke to. What was it like dealing with them? Did they make it easy for you? Did they make it easy to understand?
Firstly, one of the things that I really battled with in my younger days was something called pride. And we never ever want to come to terms that you do have a problem. But I'm grateful to God for having a wife that has stood with me and noticing this advert by a company called Debt Busters. My wife sat me down and said, "Listen, Christopher, all our credit cards and all our loans and everything is becoming too much. You're getting paid today, and tomorrow the money is getting finished. So why don't you give these guys a call? We don't know what debt review is. Let us send them an SMS and let's await a call from them and let's see what they can offer to us." So I listened to my wife. I proceeded to do a call back, and I received a call from an amazing agent. And I explained to him my situation. He done a free credit report with me. He picked up all of my accounts and said to me, "Mr. Samuel, at the moment you are paying, I am I'm just throwing out some figures. I stand to be corrected. It was something between 19 and 21,000 Rand per month that I was paying to all of my credit providers. And he said to me, what we can do for you, we're giving you an estimate. You need to pay 3,821 Rand over a period of 5 years and 5 months. And I was like, wow, from 20,000 Rand to 3,821 Rand, that's a massive change. And yeah, that's how I began the process of debt review with Debt Busters.
So yeah, that is a phenomenal change. Obviously, you had a lot of short-term, very short-term finance that was kind of all piling up at the same time, and now you were able to spread that out over a long period of time. Potentially, obviously, it would go to court and all that sort of stuff down the line. But that's a great introduction to seeing how those figures can change. Now, of course, when you hear that, did you believe them? That's the question I have. Were you like very skeptical? Did you think this can't be true, or were you convinced that they were able to deliver on this kind of estimate?
As I did mention previously, that my family and I, we did not have any understanding regarding the debt review process. But thank God for technology. It can be used in a positive or a negative way. So I went onto Google and I started to Google the debt review process. And I went into hellopeter.com and I saw only negative comments regarding debt review. So I'm sitting there thinking, have I made the right choice? And my wife and I are now at a crossroad because we found a company saying to us, which is Debt Busters, that we can help you. But when we look at the overall comments regarding debt review, we were now placing some sort of reservations on the matter. But we thank God today that Debt Busters has been a game changer in our personal and financial well-being.
Yes, Christopher, that's really amazing that you actually, went through all of that negative things and all of a sudden something happened in your life. Tell us about that feeling when you actually had to pay the three instead of the 20. That first installment when you actually had a bit of extra bucks where you can actually live a bit. Can you remember that feeling?
Yes, I can remember that feeling, Corey. I can remember it. It was like yesterday. But I would love to bring a massive point uh, up front that can assist consumers regarding this amazing process, this life changing process called debt review. Um, Going on debt review needs to teach a person some valuable lessons in life. And one of the valuable lessons that people need to take out of debt review is the ability to work with a budget. And even though going on debt review in 2017, I can remember saving a lot of money, but not really understanding what to do with that extra money. But Christopher, being someone at that point who had a drug addiction and a gambling addiction, did not use that money correctly. So, in fact, instead of embracing and enjoying the debt review process and actually seeing the benefits of the debt review process in terms of having a little bit more capital in your pocket, being able to take your family out, being able to do things that we could not do for many years, being a self-centered human being, I found myself, because of bad habits, for the first 3.5 years, I paid my debt review restructured fee with no sort of problem. But I did not enjoy the process, not because of debt busters. They were absolutely amazing from start to finish, but because of my own mismanagement of money as well as my addictions. But I have an amazing financial director, and her name is Michelle Skuman. And Michelle Skuman, I reached out to her and I said to her, Michelle, I am currently facing X, Y, and Z. And Michelle Skuman taught me the art of budgeting. She said to me, Chris, this is what I need you to do from today. And we formed a group chat, just Michelle, my wife, and I. And every month on that group chat, I would send her how much I get paid, and we would actually sit down. Debt busters, 3,821 rand. Rental, lights and water. And it was the first time I started to sit with a proper budget, knowing how and where your money needs to go to, starting to put priorities in order from A to Z, rather than being a self-centered human being and putting Z to A. And Michelle has been absolutely phenomenal in my life, as well as having the ability to hold my hand as an adult and say to me, Chris, you gotta sit with a budget. And today, let me tell you, by the grace of God and the company called Debt Busters and Michelle Skuman, I have I have more money than month, and I sit in a position today where I am so grateful, purely based on the fact that I sit with a budget every single month.
Well, Chris, I think we're all thinking of a few things that we'd love to get some clarity from you here, because one, you said you had these incredibly destructive habits in your life. So we'd very briefly like to hear how you managed to put that behind you, to get that under control. But also then I realized that when you entered debt review, there was a little thing called COVID-19 making its way in a couple of years down the line there into everybody's lives. So maybe you want to tell us about either of those. How did you manage to turn things around so that you were able to stick to your budget? You were able to fight some of the other addictions that were in your life there? Or maybe you want to tell us a little bit about, was everything smooth sailing once you were in debt review?
How did I get rid of my bad habits? I'm a firm believer in my Lord and my Savior Jesus Christ. I was born in a Christian home, but unfortunately, born in a Christian home does not make you have a personal relationship with my God. And on the 14th of July, 2021, we call it the Holy Spirit that came upon me at a funeral service. And ever since that day, I have given up every stronghold that I was plagued with, One being the drug addiction. This would be my 4th year that I am clean of drugs, as well as the bad habit of gambling has been totally taken out of my life. And yeah, so that's how I am standing today, absolutely on a firm foundation. Yes, and the second part of the question, COVID came along, and unfortunately, millions of South Africans, including myself, have been challenged in that time. And unfortunately, debt busters needed to withdraw from their agreement with me as my debt counselor because of my fault, not of theirs. I started to miss payments. I started to make excuse upon excuse. This is in 2020. And they did everything. Debt busters did everything to make sure that I do not go against my court order. But because of COVID, and still at that point in time, having these sort of addictions, because as I said, I've only been delivered on the 14th of July 2021. They sent me a 17W form stating that they are withdrawing as my debt counselor. So in 2021, this is when Michelle Skuman came into the picture. I mean, for a fee of 0, she took the initiative of helping me. And yeah, I started to get my life back in order. I started to feel better. And I contacted Hyphen PDA directly. And I said to Hyphen, listen, I believe that you guys are the payment distribution agency that is paying my creditors. And Hyphen, amazing, very similar to Dead Busters, work like clockwork. And they said yes. And I said, okay, I want to resume with my payments. They said, no problem. I started every month EFTing them the money, and I would see within 3 to 5 days that money actually being distributed to my creditors. And while doing that process, now you guys must remember, I started to do a budget. And now when I started to do a budget, I said, I can really complete this process so much sooner. So having Michelle Skuman there, having my wife there, we started to open a savings account. So where we had a non-negotiable, no matter what happens, this money is not going to be used. And every month, while EFTing the money to Hyphen PDA, we would put money aside. And I remembered, Corey and Zach, that I was owing plus minus 41,000 Rand left. And guess what? I had 40,000 Rand saved. So I called all of my creditors and I said, listen, I am ready to pay you guys. And to my surprise, they would say to me, Mr. Samuel, if you settle within 7 days, you are going to get a 20% or a 30% discount. And I'm like, wow. And I would get the certificate of balances from them. They would send me through a settlement letter. And believe you me, I actually only ended up paying 28,000 and somewhat change. I received all of my paid up letters. I went back to Dead Busters and I said, Dead Busters, this is where I am at the moment. I have all of my paid up letters. And you know what? Even though Debt Busters did not hear from me for like 18 months, from the time of the 17W form till that call, they treated me like their very own customer. Yet they were not getting paid. They treated me like, wow, like I got the best sort of care. And they said to me, Mr. Samuel, we want to congratulate you. We are so happy. We need, firstly, to follow protocol. So you got to send us all of your paid up letters. We are going to have a look at these paid up letters. And once everything is in order, our promise to you is within 24 hours, we will issue you and your wife with a clearance certificate, because I was married in community of property, and my wife to date does not have a single account on her name. She's never opened an account on her name. And because of community of property, she was sucked into the debt review process. And everything went like clockwork. Debt Busters was excited. Within, I think, 12 hours or 18 hours, I received my clearance certificate, updated it in all of the bureaus. And yeah, I found myself in an amazing place, an amazing place. And this gave me the burning desire through the debt review process. Yeah, to and Michelle to go and now search as to how I can help other people regain the well-being in the financial area and managing of their finances. So I started working with a few debt counselors, saying to them, listen, this is who I am, and I would love to learn, process from now not a consumer's point of view, but from a business view. And I would like to bring you some clients because I do my call center and I have people who are over indebted. And they said, sure, bring in the client and let's see how we can help the client. So I done that for about 6 to 8 months. And I said to myself, what is stopping me of becoming a debt counselor? So I discussed it with my wife and I said to my wife, listen, I really want to become a debt counselor. So I contacted the Enterprise University of South Africa and I said to them, listen, I believe that you guys do a course for people who want to become debt counselors. They said yes. We discussed the amount, and last year July I went onto the program to become a debt counselor, and yeah, I had the highest mark for my assignment. I had successfully completed my debt counselor's course, obtained my certificate, and it's all because of a collective effort here. It's because of Debt Busters. It's because of my beautiful wife. It's because of Michelle Skuman. And today, I am a qualified debt counselor. I am so proud to be a qualified debt counselor because I can now help budget. I can help people get back the power within the financial industry of being able to do things that they could not do once upon a time.
Christopher, I think there's so much to unpack there. First off, well done. I think for someone to actually take responsibility, even not being scared to ask for help. I'm sorry. It's always great to know that you can ask for help. And I think we all take our hats off for not just getting out of debt, but actually improving your life and your wife's and your child, and now both children. I think it's amazing that you could actually go through that and actually have a success story. So well done. It's really, really amazing. Um, Before we carry on with you being a debt counselor, I just want to know, when you cleared your debt and you got that clearance certificate, how did you guys celebrate? Can you tell us what you did that night?
Oh yeah, I would not forget. It was absolutely amazing. Such a great feeling. And my wife and I, we live in a town called Newcastle. So we went out to our local spa with my daughter, and we had an amazing time. We had supper together. We had some stuff to drink, non-alcoholic, and yeah, just an absolutely great achievement and a weight off our shoulder.
Yeah, we can only imagine. And really, it had been a journey of many years to get you to that point. So well done on sticking to it. And it's, I think it's an important lesson for us to just take from your account that debt review doesn't mean that your life suddenly stops. Your life still goes on while debt review is going on. It's taking care of one aspect of your life, but it's so important to sort out other parts of your life to focus on building for the future. And now you're doing that for your family and for your kids. If I can ask, so let's say somebody says, well, Christopher's someone who can understand my situation. I'd love to talk to him a little bit about what's going on with my debt situation. How do people get hold of you, Chris?
Okay, so Zach, I've named my debt counseling company Optimum Debt Counselors. I believe that we are the favorable option for people to come through and have a free credit assessment. Um, I am using my mobile number where people can contact me directly on 083 787 3328, and I would be more than happy to set up an interview with them, do a free credit assessment, and assist them according to the rules and regulations.
That's really cool. I think we can get people to reach out to you. And also, the nice thing is, you know how to handle them because you've been there. So you know that when they come to you, you can actually dive a little bit deeper, not just into the actual debt counseling, but look at the different things and the reasons for being under debt review, and actually giving them some advice on that side as well.
100% Corey. I think one of the massive challenges within our space that consumers are going onto debt review but not fully understanding the process. So I feel how we can improve the industry is not only focusing on the debt review part, but also going over and above where we can start explaining to the client, follow a budget, um, place your priorities in order, put some money aside. I think that's where we lack as an industry, where once we've captured the client, it is the begin all and the end all. But imagine how much more beautiful it would be where we start saying, listen, go onto a budget. This is our contact number. Contact us. We're here to help you. We really want this process to work for you, and shows them that we're not only business orientated, but we are also cared about the well-being of that client during the process of debt review. So I think as an industry, we need not only to capture the client and place them on this program, but we got to do follow-up checks. How's things going, Corey? How's things going, Zach? Let us have a look where we can help you. Is there anything else we can do for you over and above, just having you on the program? And I feel that can boost this industry in a totally different dimension. And that's why Christopher is here. So, just a little a joke or to put some sense of humor in it, if you guys don't mind. The other debt counseling companies, including the one that I'm so favorable towards, and that's Debt Busters, they should watch out because there's a guy that's coming to give them much, much, much needed competition within the space.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Christopher, let's say now somebody is listening to your story. It resonates with them. They're having some of the same challenges you've got or had in the past. They're experiencing the same things. And right now they're sitting with crushing debt that they just can't get out of. They've tried a few things and it's not working for them. What advice would you give that person in regard to debt review? If they start thinking about debt review, what should be their next steps?
Um, I am, if there's one thing that I've learned in life, is never to be a self-centered human being. I believe that each person is allowed to have their fair share. I would firstly say to this specific individual, reach out to a reputable and a reliable company. From my personal experience, I'm not here and I haven't received any money from Debt Busters, neither do I want any money from them. I would say approach a company like Debt Busters. If I was a self-centered human being, I would tell you approach Optimum Debt Counselors, which is me. You are more than welcome in approaching me. But if you really want to join a company that um, goes the extra mile, that is very professional in every way that I've experienced them, I would say to you, go to Debt Busters, make contact with them. They are the giants for me in this industry. They are absolutely reliable. They are absolutely transparent. They are linked up with an authentic PDA system, which is SK and hyphen PDA. SK has been tremendous in assisting me on a daily basis. At times, I would pick up the phone and call him as I was completing my documents. And you're dealing now with two reputable companies. And go to Debt Busters. I would say you go to Debt Busters, and I hope Debt Busters is listening to this, and they would listen and take time to listen to this and know that I am here not only to promote myself, but I'm really interested and committed in the well-being of the consumer. And I believe in the debt review process 1,000,000%. And I believe that at this present point in time, Debt Busters is the company that if you are really wanting to go onto this, visit them or visit me, and I will be more than happy to help you as well.
Yeah, Christopher. I think, if you have debt and you are listening to this, unfortunately, the debt is not going anywhere. And if you're sitting with interest, in fact, the debt is going up. So rather go talk to somebody, like you said, give Chris a call, talk to Debt Busters, talk to one of the reputable industry organizations, get some help. Do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. Now's a good time. Why not be your kind of your time could be right now, So thank you for sharing your story with us, Christopher. It's really motivating to find someone who's been through the process and loved it so much that they've become a debt counselor so they can help other people. It's really an amazing story. Thank you.
You are very, very most welcome. And I thank you and Corey for taking time out of yours busy schedules to interview me. And I love the brand. I love, by the way, your magazine, Debt Free Magazine. I've been,
Thank you.
SK shared with me some beautiful stories about Zach King. And very, very excited. And by God's grace, that one day we get to meet, not just to meet, but for me to be presented an award because of my hard work in the industry.
Look out, everybody. Christopher is coming. Right. No, but thank you so much. It's been great. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, Christopher, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think it's an inspiring story. Well done for doing what you did and keeping keeping to the process and getting debt free and becoming a debt counselor. That's really, really amazing, and I think it's quite an inspiring story. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, Corey, I must say, I was a little dumber when I started this episode with you. I feel a little smarter now to see how someone can come through the journey and appreciate its effect so much that they want to do that for someone else. I think that speaks volumes about what Debt Review can accomplish. And yeah, it's been a great episode. Thank you.
Yes, thank you to our guest, Zach. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you to our listeners, and we will see you on the next episode of Debt Review with Dummies.
It's a guess.
I like it.